Welcome to the Intelligent Idiots Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Always on 10. Today we're tackling a special topic, misandry. The brother-sister story episode, I'm Sleepy. To match our last episode, misogyny, I wanted to fully go over as much as I possibly could to tie them together, to give equal opportunity and education for all those who may or may not be watching, for those who may or may not be influenced by this podcast. And I have found so many stories and gotten rid of so many stories I was planning on reading. And it's 7 o'clock now. I started this back at 11 a.m. I am so tired. Oh. But we shall persevere. We shall move on, and we shall start with a definition. Misandry, a hatred of men. Coming straight from Merriam-Webster. And to expand, we head over to Wikipedia. Misandry is the hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against men or boys. The term misandry originated in the late 19th century as an epithet for first-wave feminists, drawing an equivalence between hatred of men and misogyny, the hatred of women. The term reemerged during the 1980s in men's rights literature and academic literature on structural sexism. In the internet age, use of the term has become common within the manosphere to counter feminists' accusations of misogyny. The users of men's rights discussion forums on websites such as 4chan and Reddit have claimed that misandry is widespread and established in preferential treatment of women and shown by discrimination against men. I'm not going to keep reading all that. I'm so tired. I just want to eat and go to sleep. But I must give you guys an awesome show. Otherwise, I'm not a man of my word. Remember, actually, forget being a man of my word. Being a human of my word, right? Let's thoroughly make it equal. Is being a person of good character. And being a person of good character is keeping to your word. I'm going to give you an episode every single Monday, 8 a.m., until I'm in the hospital. And even then, we might live stream from there. So, moving on. We're over in r/relationship advice with a post that's over a year old by Arrow Floof. Is my misandry or his misogyny a problem? Male 32 and female 32. Me and my guy have been dating for about 7 months, and everything's great. We were having a little funny discussion about heartthrobs over the decades, and he pulled the she's crazy / psycho card and how she's never in any committed relationship despite being in her 40s. So attractive. And I'm like, okay. I'm 32, no kids, and never married, and so is he. So by that way of thinking, am I psycho too? We squashed that because the discussion wasn't meant to be serious. For context, I've had a lot of tumultuous relationship experiences. Cheating, abuse, lying, financial fraud. Most of my late 20s, I've spent healing, girl. In fact, I've done a lot of work to trust men again and to build my confidence to try dating again. He doesn't know much about it, and it's hard for me to talk about. We met through friends, so I know he's a good guy. He respects me, and he kind of pokes fun at how I don't like anything that's masculine, and I'm a princess. I laugh too. I've had to deal with comments about my marital status due to my ethnicity since I was 25, and it gets hurtful as the years go by. Girl, I'm 31, and I'm not married. His comments, she's crazy / psycho and single, paraphrasing, hurt me and it's stuck in my head. I want him to understand where I'm coming from without getting emotional and without him taking it as I hate all men. I'm a strong, independent woman kind of way either. I've also heard it's not a good idea to tell a man about this kind of heavy baggage, especially since it's so early. This is a year ago. I'm curious if y'all are still together. Did I do my due diligence and look through her comments? Nope, nope, nope. Of course I didn't. No, I did. They like to keep their comments hidden. Yes, I remember. I had to go searching. But in reality, they also like to keep their posts hidden. So this is a year old with only 12 comments. 7 months in, you should definitely talk about the serious things that you've been through, mostly so you can see his response to cheating, abuse, lying, and financial. Who defrauded you? I am so curious. Who hit a lick on you like that? A financial fraud? You gotta keep your hold on. You gotta keep your cards in a nice tight wallet, right? That cannot be scanned outwardly. They got the scanners built into the phones now. It's crazy. If you have an Amex card, you tapped your phone with your cards, you added it. I just seen that literally today. I was like, huh, huh, huh. It's just all a finesse. But 7 months in, no, it's not. It's entirely not so early. So long as you preface things appropriately and you show the growth that you've done, right, and you make it known that you won't fall for any BS like what you've been through, right? Oof, I am so sleepy. I'm sorry. My takes are not what they should be, but I don't want to wake up on a Sunday morning and do this and be crunched for editing time. So we're going to push through, right? The top comment with 4 upvotes. 4 upvotes. You've been in a relationship long enough to start sharing these things. When did you think it was a good time to start? Which OP does not reply to. And the second, the second upvote, many a truth spoken in jest. Sounds like he is definitely not a keeper. What is he doing making jokes at your personality traits? When he has not known you long enough? Yeah, I'm gonna be messing up this entire podcast episode. Oof. Wait. I completely forgot what the story was even about. Just that quick. I'm having a brain fart. Right? I'm having a whole brain fart. Oh my god. Yeah, we got some deep rooted, not even deep rooted. We got some inherent biases locked into our heads here. And we should not be treating people like they're crazy and psycho if they're single in their 40s. Right, they may be beating the worst people off with a stick. They might not. They might be having troubles and issues finding the best people around them, and they might not be crazy or psycho. They might just pick poorly. They might just pick poorly. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I am cooked. Let's go ahead and read this long comment by a deleted user. They have 4 points. I almost said 3. They have 4 points. There's a lot to unpack here. One, his comment was definitely rooted in misogyny. It doesn't mean he's a misogynist necessarily, but it's okay to tell him that you don't really appreciate that kind of rhetoric and to point out that people never say this type of thing about handsome men who are still single in their 40s. They get called silver foxes and praised for not allowing themselves to be locked down when they can still date beautiful women. Sometimes people just need to think about the language they're using and where their mindset is coming from. Oh man, I'm thinking. Oh my god, I'm thinking about what's his name from The Wolf of Wall Street. He will not stop dating 20 to 25-year-olds. Oh, good Lord. He is on his predator tip. He refuses to settle down and get married. Well, I'm having a brain fart. What is his name? What is this? The fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. Right. Two. It's a good thing to be vulnerable with your partner and share your past experiences. I don't know where you've heard that it's not a good idea to confide in your partner, but a decent man won't freak out because you've had a negative relationship experiences. He probably has too. Both of y'all are grown, and it's inevitable in your 30s that you have some history to unpack. It's been 7 months. It's not like you just met him, right? Three, I'm not sure where Misandry comes into play here. You expressing that you don't like him calling women crazy has nothing to do with hating men or thinking that anything in particular about men. It's related specifically to how he talks about women. Four, I am dying here. Help me. What's wrong with being a strong, independent woman? It sounds like you may have a little bit of internalized misogyny to address as well, which honestly, we all do, right? We get raised societally with no choice in the matter of what we learn and what we pick up from our parents, our family members, our school teacher, other kids who have picked up things from their kids, their parents, and you just have to work on why you believe certain things, why you think things are true that you do. And that's the move. I am so tired. Moving on. Let's have fun with this one. We're over in r/relationship advice with a post that is 6 years old by a deleted user. My sister is participating in a transphobic, misandrous incel group. Good Lord. And luckily enough, this post has an update. I, 19 male, noticed that my younger sister, 15 female, is becoming self-conscious. And really when she's visiting my new apartment. She still lives with our parents, but still. The grammar. I tried to read this correctly from what you wrote, and it destroyed me. It makes no sense to me. But you were 19. I'm probably off your phone. Oof. As a brother, I did what I did. A week ago, I noticed a profile on my Twitter contacts list that I knew nothing about. The profile pic screamed a Black Power aesthetic, so I looked into it. Basically, all I saw the girl in that profile talk about was how pathetic black men were, how black women should divest, her dad and mother being deadbeats, and how her mom should have picked a white man with power. Ugh. The tweet below that thrashing biracial people because the amount of black men willing to sleep with white women over black women were too much. I don't even want to read this story, I'm not gonna lie. I knew a lot of people, so I didn't pay it much mind. A couple of days later, my sister tells me she left her tablet at my apartment and to make sure it's there when she comes back. I go on to charge it, and after plugging it in, I see a Twitter notification of a guy calling her a bed wench. That's a new one. I take note of his and who he replied to so I can report him through my Twitter account. But I get there and realize he's insulting the same profile I saw some days before. The exact same tweet. I checked on her tablet just to make sure. Ooh. I didn't know how to process it. I did some research on Divest Twitter, and the way I saw it, it was full of rampant misandry, transphobia, mainly against male to female, a sexual fetishism of white men, while at the same time demonizing white women and the men they associate with, black women who don't agree with this philosophy. You should have put an "and" there. And these lies about how pathetic a beta grade the conquered race of black men were, and how they had no history, no emotion, no sense of right or wrong, pulling articles of complete psychopaths who happen to be black and attributing them to all men. Oh my God. What really got to me is how she talked about me in there. She called me Elijah on her profile and seemed too angry about how ugly and low energy I was, but still getting laid by white Peckies and Pygmishas while she's never had a boyfriend because she's black. I guess she assumes I'm dating all my female friends. I hadn't dated or had sex with anyone since high school, and I broke up with my white girlfriend then because of how hateful she was towards my sister. At first, I was angry, but I just hated seeing how sad my sister was on Twitter. I hated seeing how my ex destroyed her confidence, too. I knew if I told her anything, she'd feel like I was sticking my hand in her head and falling even deeper into her hole. I'm thinking about letting our parents know, but I don't know how they'll react. Should I just tell her? I'm glad there's an update because I read this and I was absolutely thrown for a loop. I don't know any African American individuals who think like this, who are so self hating, and shit, just wish they were white. Oof. I understand wanting things to be equal in life and how terribly unfair it is, especially here in America, because I'm assuming that's where they are. They're here suffering. Hey, but at 15, getting brainwashed onto Twitter like this. Oh, actually, I can understand that. Wait, nope. This post is 6 years ago. I can understand getting brainwashed on Twitter into thinking crazy things like this today and last year, ever since Elon bought Twitter, but 6 years ago is wild. I can understand getting brainwashed on TikTok and falling into some crazy ass groups over there because the algorithm will just keep hitting you with it, keep hitting you with it, keep hitting you with it. And you will be reinforced with videos that you think are agreeing with what you have going on in your head, or Facebook too, Instagram too. Right. But that will not be what reality is or how you should think. But you will get locked into it. Ooh, this is crazy. Let's see what these comments are. Because there's only so many. A couple of these pages are deleted. I think your best bet here, if you want to intervene, is to sit your sister down and have a heart-to-heart with her. The simple fact is we all have insecurities. However, nowadays, we have Twitter groups, Facebook groups, and subreddits that prey on these insecurities. In my experience with this sub, I am much more familiar with the incel and MGTOW movements. Oh, I know. Men going their own way. However, this divest movement seems similar, as it's for black women who feel anger and resentment about their perceived lower place in society and hierarchy of women, and this is their outlet for rage and resentment. But self-hating rage, self-hating, at the end of the day, though, you being pissed off at the world is not going to make your life better. People that feel this way need to seek professional help and work through this with a therapist. Just talk to a few incels about how them embracing black pill culture has contributed to their depression, isolation, and overall lowering of quality of life. If I can definitely I could definitely understand. Yeah, you just get sucked into a hole and you just chilling at the crib in your bed, scrolling. I got a lot of notifications. Who cares? I can see that, because if you think the world is just a terrible place and you don't go out into it and you don't interact and you don't have good experiences, then your life becomes what you see online because that's all you're taking in. Let me continue reading her comment. I hope you can reach out to her and talk this one out. I too relate to what she's experienced. I'm an Asian male, and at least here in America, it's very common for Asian women to want to get with and pursue white men. I was resentful about this for a while as a teenager, but I eventually said fuck it. And instead of being resentful and letting it negatively affect me, I focused on making myself the best I could be and dating who I had a connection with and liked. I've dated many different races of women and am happily in a relationship with a woman I truly love. I hope one day your sister can reach a similar level of catharsis. I don't think I've ever said catharsis out loud before. Huh. We got a couple comments replying. I say, no, I'm tired because I don't even want to read this. I think it's important to add if Obi talks to her that he understands her frustration, even if the specific examples aren't accurate. Black women are more likely to be victimized and more likely to make lower wages than white men or women, black men, and in some cases other people of color too. It's a frustrating time to be black right now. And it's important to validate her frustrations with life/society, even if her frustrations with OP's friends and exes is totally fictitious. This was during COVID. That's what this is. This was during COVID. This girl was locked in a house on her phone, scrolling on the worst things. I see now. Yep. Black Lives Matter movement, COVID. There was so much racism just thrown out there, and everybody was eating it all up. There was so much going on. Still is so much going on, right? But it's 2026. We're having a big WW3 right now. Ugh. So the deleted comment replied to Miss Mockingbirdie, right? The comment I just read. This is true. And every statistic my neighbor going hard outside with their I don't even know what they got, a Mustang? I don't know. I'm sleepy. This is true. And every statistic I've ever seen, black women are always getting the worst. Most likely to be victimized, least sought after demographic of women, desired on dating apps, etc. Her frustrations are not necessarily wrong, but becoming hateful and resentful and feeding into these negative feedback loop echo chambers will not do anything positive and possibly negatively affect her mental health. She needs to get help and address this if she has any hopes of becoming a well-adjusted, successful, and healthy woman. Choosing to be part of any community where I voluntarily accept being called a bedwench is horrifying and disgusting. Oof. These comments right here, they're just spot on. They got the takes my sleepy ass don't have. Her reactions are totally abhorrent, but it's easiest to get people to possibly change if you can tell them their feelings are valid. Just their response is wrong. Just something like, I know how bleak it can be given these statistics. I know it can be hard to find joy in life when it feels like you have every disadvantage. But instead of blank, maybe you can try doing blank. And that second blank would ideally include speaking to a professional. Oh, man. Let me find this. Updates. So the update, my sister, 15 female, is participating in a toxic online group. They link to the original post, which we read. Hello, I've never included the ages, so I went back and did, and I took some of the advice, but I still didn't feel it was right for me to jump in and tell her, hey, I read your tablet, so who's telling you these things? Most of what my younger sister, 15 female, was doing and saying in these groups online was just because she felt alone and depressed, from what I can tell. How she felt most of this was because she was black and my racist ex just pushed her further into this. And I hated seeing it. So around October last year, I, 19 male at that time, finally brought this up to our parents on the condition that they would not confront her about it. I told them nothing about her being in these groups that I couldn't justify with her feelings of loneliness because they would definitely give her shit. I told them about it at face value. If we invaded her privacy, this way she'd fall deeper into the hole she was in. I feel like there are two commas needed in that previous sentence. Oof. We all had to sit with this for some time in November. My younger brother, then 16 male, asked me about this stuff. Again, we haven't confronted her about it, but he tells me he's going to try to get her with a friend group in school since I'm not living with them anymore. Is this pre-COVID? No, this is 5 years ago. So this would have been 2021. Okay. Yeah, so this started during COVID. Ooh, that's tough. And then them getting back to it, ooh, their brains were fried. A couple weeks ago, she actually started asking me for money to hang out with some girls. I took the opportunity to start talking to her about them. They're really nice people. She's still very shy, but she's making less self-deprecating jokes around me. They like to listen to her talk about her hobbies and interests, and it's just great to see her smile genuinely now. Last time we spoke was 2 weeks ago. I don't know what I would have done without any help. I probably would have just lived with that knowledge and not done anything. So thanks, seriously. Honestly, it's been 5 years, 6 years. I hope you continue to follow that page and make sure she didn't post anything else. The realities of all this social media stuff now that we've gone through so much, and the list is out. We see how many pages, especially on Twitter, are just bots paid for by certain entities over here in America and ran by people overseas who are thoroughly disconnected from us and do not care. They're meant to just boost rage, increase revenue for certain individuals, and sow discord to the point where, hey, look at your sister. She was locked in the house and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and hating and hating and hating herself and her own people, right? Calling her parents what they aren't, I'm assuming. I truly hope that she's doing good and better. And I hope that she also got therapy, because that should be like the basic bare minimum for a situation like this. Then you also, when certain things weigh heavy on your mind, especially when people are this close to you personally, you should not act with inaction. That is not the way. More in the r/2x chromosomes subreddit with a post that's 5 months old by REGZM. I am trying so incredibly hard to avoid falling down the rabbit hole of misandry. Men are so insistent that sexism and misogyny are not as widespread as they are. The more I interact with, the more my gut is telling me that they really are all the same. Yes, I know, not all men. My experience is not the universal one. I have bias. I should give more men a shot, etc., etc. But unfortunately, when you start seeing sexism, you can't stop. It is everywhere. I am confident when I say that the majority of experiences I and any woman in my life have had with males, as friends, peers, or romantic partners, are majorly negative. They seem to constantly sexualize, belittle, infantilize, and disrespect women. God forbid a woman behave like a man, have sexual needs like a man, or ask something emotionally fulfilling of a male partner or friend. We are deemed irrational, hysterical, needy, naggy. The amount of women who seemingly parent their adult male partners is alarming. With the far right push in the media lately, I'm not surprised. But it feels like every damn day news comes out about one of the good ones being a predator or a creep. Or I find something about a male in local circles and it just reinforced the gut feeling that has been emphasized from past experiences. I'm so sick of men viewing women as fleshlights and maids and mommies. We are people. We are no more rational or hysterical, emotional than any given man. I am so sick of how men regard women as a whole, and it is only getting worse. How can I convince myself it's not all men when every man seems dead set on proving me wrong? Excuse me, I had to belch. I don't know if I have an answer to that question, because I am not perfect. Me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago was a worse form of who I am today. And I plan the version of me being 5 years now to be better than what I am, especially as I continue to walk down this path, being so privileged as I am in life. to continue to gain knowledge. I find the things that I've done and the things that other people do abhorrent, and I try to continuously better myself, right? The thoughts that I have, the things that I engage with, the topics, the subjects, everything on social media, I try to learn more and engage with things that are better and not engage with misogyny that, of course, hurts women. But it's truly hard for me to point to a man and be like, he does not hate women in some form or fashion. On a scale of 1 to me, hey, I'm Mr. Always on 10. I think people are always going to be floating at a 1 at a minimum. There is no 0, right? Even though I started the scale at 1. 2, right? Because I'm the shit. There are, especially as we move forward in time, we are, and I know I'm sliding a little bit, we are allowed to care about things that seem less important than the issues that we've tackled in the past. This country is incredibly privileged to be years separated from slavery, years separated from segregation, years separated from a lack of pure equality at a congressional level. But every part of that, of those issues that we faced, are ingrained in society. And as we move on fighting these issues, tackling these issues, the little crumbs stay left behind, but we are allowed to focus on these smaller issues that have built up that may not seem as big as hey, stealing people. And I can only speak so much because this will be going on every platform. Breeding individuals like animals, treating them like animals, and forcing them historically down. Oh my God. My apologies. I'm trying to make it PG, but it's impossible. We have solved issues. We are now privileged enough to solve the issues that are not as big, but these are still difficult tasks that must be tackled. And I do not have the answer for you specifically. If I'm replying solely to you, REGZM, I can just say try to educate those around you that you care about, those who you do not push away because they are abhorrent people. Continuously check those who say stupid things, ignorant things, hateful things, and show them why they're wrong. Fight them on it. Empathize, come to them at an empathetic level. Use whatever method you can. And if it's just not working and you're just too tired of the fight, leave those people alone. Leave them in the dust. You will find better people. You will surround yourself with better people as you become a better person. Those people will be left alone to themselves, and they will exist as a part of the loneliness epidemic, and they will pass away alone. Or just become better. And then they'll find friends who are better, right? Everyone's not on the same level. Let's read through some of these comments. I feel like I'm all over the place with what I'm talking about. And so the top comment with 2.1K upvotes, 2,100. We got hella comments on this post. Quote, so much talk about misandry. You think women enslaved men and rid them of their voting rights, kept them as maids, kept them as sexual slaves, exchanged them for political and economic favors, still have countries where men have to don clothing covering them from head to toe with no education rights, no working rights, no voting rights, not even talking rights. Like, what misandry? That's a comment on the internet. Scroll on. End quote. I'm not sure what sub I found this on, but so true. And that's what it is. Again, America, the United States of America, not specifically the northern or southern continent. People have fought really, really, really hard to advance and rid this country of its systemic issues, even though, like I said, crumbs, bits and pieces, parts are still left over and affect us to this day. But you have to fight just like your ancestors fought, your family fought, all those people that you would never learn about in textbooks fought, right? Because you know who owns McGraw Hill. And if you don't, you can Google it. Even though Google is giving money over to the administration. There are a bunch of comments that I want to read, and some of these words will get my podcast flagged. they will slow down my monetization, but I don't give a fuck. But women gatekeep sex, so men are oppressed. They're so oppressed. Ash Elise B commented at that. And everybody's commenting underneath this. Ah, yes, sex. The only love language men have. You can run yourself ragged, keeping the house and raising the kids and doing everything. But if you don't fuck your husband, then you clearly don't love him. It was just sex. It meant nothing when he cheats on you. Sex is my love language. It is a prerequisite for deeper connections when he wants it from you. Yo, these comments are spitting. Oh, Desmond Tapinade. I can't read. Comments. Obligatory. Quote, not all men, but far, far too fucking many of them. End quote. The term coercive assault. I can't say that word. Assault. It's a 4-letter word. I can't say that word. Assault. So 4-letter word. Replace it. The term coercive assault was not widely used until I was in my late 20s. And let's be real, it's still not, but it should be. And when I first heard it, that was a thunderclap moment because I realized that's exactly what went down in past relationships. In case anyone needs to hear it, if you have sex with your partner because you don't want to upset them, / you feel like you have to earn your keep or whatever, / they're unhappy because you don't want to put out, that's not consent. That's coercion. Please be good to yourselves. Now, there is a comment here that leads to another comment, and then that brings me over to several pieces of information. So let's get to it. They feel oppressed right now for some reason, and it caused a lot of young men to vote for Trump this past election because of it. Women start to become more equal and gain better rights, and men want to blow the world up for it. They feel emasculated for it. I hate it. They're disgusting. And Juggernaut Existing 97 replies to one of y'all farted. I agree completely, but I'd be remiss if I did not also add that I strongly feel that this is a blowback from Obama, as well as the fact that a black woman was also running this last time. See how that works? They'll elect a black man, and there's backlash, but a black woman, they would never. Shout out Obeezy, the best president during my lifetime and probably your lifetime too. Right? You roll it back. Who we got? Who do we have? Dementia Donnie, Sleepy. That's such a terrible name. The tan suit in chief is fantastic. Just Google how many different presidents have had tan suits and worn them. Right? Everybody. Then we got then we got the oil man. Right, I'm just coming up with nicknames right now because my brain is fried. And before that, we got that one guy who's on the list, whose wife also ran for president. It sucks that we didn't get her because we wouldn't be here right now. We would not be here right now. We never vote for women. As a matter of fact, here's a fun fact. I didn't vote for her either. I thought it was a given that she win. And after that, I was like, oh, I gotta vote for everything now. I was a preteen and a teenager when Obama won. I couldn't vote for him. So the first time I could have voted for president for Hillary, I didn't, because I did not think that they would vote for the grab him by the pussy guy. I did not think that. And then motherfuckers did it 3 more times. Yeah, so don't think of it as a right that you have. Think of it as an absolute must that you always vote for the president, for your senators, your congressmen, for your governor, for your mayor, and every single little itty bitty local election beneath that, because it's the people that you don't know, whose faces that you don't see when you try to Google them when they're on the ballot sheet. Those are the ones who are going over to your electrical company and saying, hey, we got this sweetheart deal from Anthropic or OpenAI or Palin. Ooh, I can't say their name. I get put on the list, right? XAI or Google, right? They going behind the scenes and sucking all the electricity out of the power grid and raising your prices up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. Imagine your electricity bill being double. Vote, votes, votes, votes. Ooh. And due to these comments, we're going to head over to various different websites and we're going to pull up some stats. We got the total members of the House and Senate representation, which was last updated January 3rd this year. Since the U.S. Congress convened on March 4th, 1789, 12,591 individuals have served as representatives, senators, or in both capacities. There have been 10,573 members who served only as representatives, 1,329 members who served only in the Senate, and 689 members with service in both chambers. The total number of representatives, including individuals serving in both bodies, equals out to 11,262. That's how you know I need some sleep. And this doesn't include all those representatives from all those islands that are colonies, you know, Puerto Rico, Philippines, you know, all those different places. And with that, we can look at some more information, right? As of March 2025, we have broken records for the number of women serving in legislature. 26 women senators, 129 women representatives, 155 total serving. Whew, the most ever. And one session of Congress is 119th Congress. My brain just had a fart. We're going to slide over. With this information, we can see that 28% of all members of Congress in the 118th Congress was where we were at. The highest percentage in U.S. history, where it's continuing to grow. Even more so than a decade ago, which is like crazy. You compare 2017 numbers to 1997 numbers, you get an immediate drop from the 120s all the way down to, good Lord, the 60s to the 80s. Oh my God. Hold on, let me see. 100. Nope, I'm off a little bit. My fault. 110s. My apologies. And yes. You can go by each session of Congress and see the percentage, right? So counting both the House of Representatives and the Senate, women account for 153 of 540 non-voting members of Congress. That represents a 59% increase from 96 women who were serving in the 112th Congress a decade ago, though it remains far below women's share of the overall U.S. population. A record 128 women are serving in a newly elected House, accounting for 29% of the chamber's total. In the Senate, women hold 25 of 100 seats, tying the record for the number they held in the 116th Congress. Right. So this is looking at the previous session of Congress. This is over Pew Research. I'm dying here. My apologies. The talking does that to me. There we go. So with that, you can see that we don't have enough women representation. And to further that information, we're sliding over again. Why do I have this page open? That is interesting. Why do I have this open? Is it with a purpose? Oh, there we go. Women have been in Congress for more than a century. The first Montana Republican, Jeanette Racken, was elected to the House in 1916, 2 years after her state was given 2 years after her state gave women the vote. But women only began serving in more substantial numbers in the past few decades. More than 2/3 of the women ever elected to House, 261 of 381, including the incoming members of the 118th Congress, have been elected in 1992 or later. The pattern is similar in the Senate. 43 of 59 women who ever served in the Senate, including the one new female senator, took office in 1992 or later. I was born 3 years afterwards, right? So we can see that when we broke barriers, or our grandparents did, however old you are, surely Chris Holm became the first black woman elected to Congress, but that was 1968, right? It was 1992 where Carol Mosley Braun became the first black woman elected to Senate, right, to the Senate. And when you look at these numbers statistically over the history of the country, you come up with, let me see, did the math, which you really don't even have to do, truly. We see women making up congressional seats, actual power in this country, amounting to 3% of all the people elected. 250 years of history in this country, and women have only made up 3% of everything that goes along with the makeup of this country, as far as top-down leadership, real power. And it becomes even worse. You look at Obese, one of 46 presidents that makes up the only black president, being 2% of this country's history. Women make up zero. You look even further for black women who have been elected and who have served, 0.5%. 0.5%. Women make up 3% of everyone who's ever been elected. Black women make up 0.5%. It's insanity. It's just sad. From the first United States Congress in 1789 through the 119th Congress in 2024, 198 African Americans served in Congress. Meanwhile, the total number of individuals who have served in Congress over that period is 12,585. Between 1789 and 2024, 186 have served in the House of Representatives, 14 have served in the Senate, and 2 have served in both chambers. Voting members have totaled 193, while 5 others served as delegates. Party membership has been 135 Democrats and 31 Republicans, 31 coons, while 13 members founded the Congressional Black Caucus in 1971 during the 92nd Congress. In the 119th Congress from 2025 to 2027, 62 served, with all of them being Democrats. Total seats are 535 plus 6 delegates. We have so little representation. Women, African American women, so little representation. And we have been here the entire time. Truly equals to everyone participating in this country. And so little real representation and power. So when we look at these issues that are systemically held in this country and the current issues that are being exasperated, that are being, that are just being ramped up. I can't think of the word. I'm so sorry. Ramped up through social media, through these billionaires, through these people who are all on the list. We can see it is because they did their very best to keep us from power. If we held power, things would be better. Things have gotten better since we have had women in office. Things have been better since we have had African American men and women in office. This is the reality of the world. When you have representation from all groups and issues get pushed forward, people start caring. It takes being shown an issue and being educated and having emotional intelligence where the needle gets moved. Moving on. We are over in r/deep thoughts with a post that's a year old by a deleted user. The discomfort men feel about misandry is how women have felt for most of history. Men say they are triggered and uncomfortable by the rise of casual misandry online. They feel this way, yet they don't understand that women have been dealing with systemic and sociocultural misogyny for most of human history. Men weren't raised on stories, both real and fictional, that constantly remind them that they are the submissive and inferior gender, that they can never be heroes, that their lives are always dependent on men, never on their own merits. Throughout modern civilization, men have forced women to cater to men in many ways, preventing them from actively participate in building society, keeping them from excelling, keeping them at home. Women have only got to experience the privilege of equal opportunity for the last 40 years or so. This is a new phenomenon, and it's only recently that we can truly embody this new role we have in society, and many men are unhappy about that. Men are finally getting a taste of their own medicine, and the current political state of affairs is the result of that. And we can see, again, with the stats, with the statistics, with the history, and the cultural shifts over the decades, right? Throughout the, I am so sorry, I'm sleepy. Throughout the generations, that things are changing and we need more effort put in. I don't know what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. My apologies. The top comment, because there are not, why is this the top comment? I don't know why that's the top comment. Such deep thoughts. quote, let's encourage misandry because fuck men. I post. And right underneath that, where did they say that? These people aren't truly engaging. These people aren't reading because, Nixon and Reagan, we truly have an illiteracy problem in this country, not a male loneliness epidemic, a reading epidemic, an understanding epidemic, a billionaires moving public funding for schooling over the Catholic schools, charter schools, epidemic, Catholic schools, charter schools. Let's see the rest of these comments. I think there was something that I saw that I really liked. Where is it at? My apologies. Yes, there was some bullshit here and people throwing around race and it got on my nerves. I see it, but we're going to get there. They don't like hearing about how men have mistreated women throughout history and blame them for making them feel bad. A hallmark of low emotional intelligence. Dog, we got a reply. It's not my fault that this shit happened over the course of history. I was born in 2001, LMAO. Glithering Wave 15 replies, yes, it's not current men's fault for creating the patriarchy, but it's also not women's fault for creating it either. Sometimes, even if you don't make the mess, you still have to, however, deal with the work to clean it up in order to make the world a better place. Men are not responsible for the creation of the patriarchy, and while the patriarchy hurts both men and women, they still do benefit from it in ways that women do not. In America, for example, we have yet to enshrine equal protection for men and women in the workplace under law. And some of our abortion laws are stricter than Saudi Arabia. Or Saudi Arabia, I'm sorry. And we still have never broken many glass ceilings, such as the office of president. Men are still responsible for living in a patriarchal society and making the choice to either not dismantle it or even more deeply reinforce it in order to retain any male privilege that still exists. Just like how women are still responsible for making the choice to not fight to dismantle the patriarchy or either to reinforce it. I think that this post is also trying to make the point that while men may experience misandry, that does not justify the recent, even more intense spike in misogyny. Being mistreated by women does not justify voting for a sexual predator who wants to strip their rights away, and being mistreated by women does not justify furthering any oppression they face. Just like how me becoming sexually harassed before by women would not justify me adding to society's systemic culture of misogyny and biphobia. That comment was spitting. And where do we have that comment that I like? Because there are comments that I hate here. Where are we at here? So, Red Cap Riot comments. I can't expect you or anyone to just let everything go as if none of it happened. I only wish that good men were not grouped together with bad men, but that is all any of us ever seem to be, just being considered vile by virtue of being born with a high level of testosterone because other people have committed atrocities in the past is still an unfair comparison. But simultaneously, I understand your need to protect yourself from others, from future vile experiences at the hands of people most likely to commit those type of atrocities again. I never want to stand in the way of progress. I want to help people make a better world to live in, especially for the marginalized people here. But I can't do that if I'm seen as an enemy from the moment someone looks at me. The same is true for every single other decent man in the entire world. I agree that vile men commit vile acts every single day, but we aren't all of them. Or just like you aren't an abuser yourself. Abusers take many forms, and frequently they are in fact men, but I still would appreciate not being defined as an abuser just because of a completely different human being who traumatized and terrorized women. After all Germans aren't Hitler, and all blonde men and women weren't Nazis, but we still went to war with them. But at the same time, we rescued millions of civilians in that war from Nazi occupation. and there were only really 800 people who got punished, but 13 million National Socialist Party members, Nazis. 12.7 million, 12,750,000, but only 836 of them really had jail time. Similarly, not all Middle Eastern people are terrorists. They're the only people to have ever successfully attacked the U.S. and claimed civilian lives who weren't entirely domestic to this country. But one organization of evil didn't warrant our national response of obliterating the entire collection of countries. It is just unfair, is all I'm getting at, specifically to men who do not deserve that. To hell with those other guys. They can rot somewhere far from the rest of society, because you're right. You do not deserve to be mistreated that way. I really do empathize with your experiences, and I'm truly sorry that you have to deal with such an awful thing on such a regular basis. I have a tendency to approach others with respect than to allow them to dictate how much respect they deserve with their actions. To me, basic respect never needs to be earned, but respect that is lost for someone most certainly has to be earned back. I have lost respect for many men, but not yet for all of them. There are still some good people in the world, I promise. Even if I'm not one to you, I promise that there are good men in the world. You're using the word respect wrong. You're using the word respect wrong. Respect means the utmost admiration for someone or something's qualities, abilities, and or achievements. All right. The word you're looking for is respectful, respectable, or decent. Decency. All right. The comment that I like that replies to this is by Appropriate Science 9. I'm not the person you were just talking to, and we didn't read their comment either. And first of all, I want to acknowledge that not all men are bad. The vast majority of women have always said so. What you need to understand is that we exist in a culture rooted in patriarchy. Men and women alike, men uphold it, women uphold it. Men are victimized by it, women are victimized by it. But the root of patriarchy is to place men's needs and values above women's. We know this is something you choose. We didn't choose it either, but it's our reality nonetheless. And because of it, women are often abused without consequence. Men are often taught to do the abusing. And worst of all, our system and culture protects and often encourages that abuse. When white people lived during the 1800s and slavery was going strong, don't you think that black people had a valid fear of all white people? Of course they did. It's not because they were necessarily accusing all white people of being bad. Surely there were some good white people who existed at the time, but the institutions and cultures encouraged the abuse and subjugation of blacks at the hands of whites, whether they chose to abuse them or not. Blacks distrusted all whites because they could abuse and get away with it, not because they actually did. It was about the power and the possibility. In many ways, it's the same with patriarchy, though slavery is significantly more extreme. To say that slavery wasn't bad, to say that slavery was bad wasn't an indictment of the good white people. It was an indictment of the system of injustice. It was an indictment of the culture that created the problems. When we are mad at men because of the harm we suffer, it's not an indictment of good men. It's an indictment of the system and culture that creates the problems. Do you see? As a person descended from slave owners, colonizers, and Confederate soldiers, there is a certain guilt I carry as a white person, even though these were the actions of my ancestors. That guilt is the natural reaction of a good person. I have no doubts that a lot of men feel the same kind of guilt too. Where I think a lot of men go astray is what you do after that. One, do you defend the good men and get upset at women for pointing out the injustices they increasingly experience in our culture? Two, Or do you recognize the injustice, learn from it, and swear to be part of the solution and not part of the problem? In my experience, there's only one way to truly eliminate the guilt of injustice by association, and that's to do the second option. Option one only enables the injustice to continue by misdirecting blame, and that in itself is an injustice. Yes, it sucks to work through those emotions and come to terms with them. It absolutely sucks to be implicated by actions of others, but you still have to make the choice regardless. As they say in mental health circles, it's not your fault that you have a problem, but it's still your responsibility to address it. The good men can't sit back, complain, and be hurt by secondhand by bad men hurting women. That sentence was a little weird. Everyone knows that violence isn't an inherited trait, but it can certainly be taught. And it's taught by a culture which revolves around gender roles. That's a perfectly valid observation because it's objectively and measurably true. All these victims, male and female alike, exist whether we like it or not. And so we all have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to unteach it constantly, day in, day out, until our culture heals and changes. And that's exactly what the Germans did, and it worked, didn't it? In the 60s. In the 60s, not in the 50s. Had they not, then it wouldn't have mattered how many generations of Germans came after the Nazis. They would all have been implicated because they would have never truly refuted the Nazi rhetoric. I have no doubts that the good Germans felt implicated and angry by the actions of others who shared their identity. It is totally unfair, but no one else could have put the Nazi culture down for them. It had to be the good Germans. And that's why the second option is the only real option. Does that make sense? And we're going to end that there. Again, reading option number 2. Recognize the injustice, learn from it, and swear to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Moving on. We're over in r/am I the asshole with an H, with a post that's 2 years old by Campaign Careless 9666. Am I the asshole for refusing to attend my friend's man-free wedding? English is not my first language. Apologies for any mistakes. Neither is mine. Mine was baby babble. Ignore that. My 30 female friend, Lisa, 34 female, is marrying her fiance, Sophie, 35 female, in 2 months. I've known both of them for several years, and I am, or at least until this whole debacle, quite close with Lisa, so I was not surprised they invited me to the wedding. However, on the invitation, it was noted that it's a man-free event, meaning that no men are allowed to be there. Despite not being a man myself, I felt it was a weird decision on their part. And I'm also on good terms with Lisa's brother, 28 male. So I texted him to ask if he knows what's up with the whole thing and if at least brides' families are exceptions to the no men rule. Apparently, both him and Lisa's father are not invited. He doesn't know about Sophie's family, but assumes it's the same with them. And he has no idea what prompted the rule. He says that at present, it has turned into a whole family dispute. I think I wouldn't have gone anyway because not allowing the presence of any men at all just feels weird to me, but especially in light of the information I got from Lisa's brother. I called her to say that I will unfortunately be unable to attend. She asked me why, and I tried to make up a good excuse, but I'm a shitty liar. So after she pressed me for a reason, I told her the truth, that I think the no men rule is weird and I don't want to be involved in that. I did not tell her that I contacted her brother, just that I'm not a fan of events segregated by gender. Lisa has told me that I'm not being a good friend to her because I'm not supportive of her, and Sophie wanting their wedding to be fully centered on women. I told her that it would be centered on women anyway, considering that both of the people getting married are women. She hung up, and I have not heard from her since. But Sophie has been sending me messages saying I have internalized misogyny. I personally think that I behave reasonably, but Sophie and Lisa evidently disagree. So, am I the asshole in this situation? Fake new. I am concerned. I don't know what's going on. This makes no sense to me. What's really happening? Ooh, top comment from Hi, I'm Deadbot. Dadbot. Not the asshole. That's really fucking cringe, and you're correct not to be supporting something like that. Yeah. Davis Young replies to that comment. Oh, hey, the cops. I hope you didn't hear that. I'm reminded of the post where the OP was not invited to his coworker's wedding, despite everybody else on their team being invited. Turns out the bride wanted to exclude all single men, except for close relatives, because she went to another wedding and a big brawl broke out among some of the single male attendees. But excluding all men turns it up to a whole nother level. Yeah, I remember that story. I read it, or somebody else read it, and I listened. Everybody just got drunk as fuck. Liquor is a drug. Stop drinking, people. You can't do it moderately or well. It's poison. Just let it go. We got a comment from Knitted Jedi. This whole thing sounds like some Red Pill's creative writing project about those mean, man-hating lesbians. Most likely just some silly little rage bait. And OP replies, not rage bait. I'm autistic and can miss social cues. So I'm really asking if I should have behaved differently. Also, I did not think this was relevant, but Lisa's not a lesbian. She's bisexual. I'm really curious why they don't want any men there. It's so weird, right? But hey, this is the Misandry episode, so maybe they do hate men. It doesn't make sense to me. We're breaking all kinds of social norms, but we're alienating large parts of our families. 50%, 49%, who knows? I don't know how many people are in their family and what their genders are. We got a comment from Vibrant Algorithms. Haha, yeah, not the asshole. I, in my own opinion, a hardcore feminist, and 2, I can't read. And to me, that means advocating for equality amongst genders, not try to put men down to push women up. That's a horrible idea. This reminds me of a book series that I, and everyone that has read it, loves. Perhaps you'll know the one I speak of. But the young teenage dragon queen liberates all the slaves in the city and is horror-struck when later the previous slaves enslave the previous masters. The will, huh? True feminism means not trying to put one gender down for another, celebrating all of us as humans and everything that makes us unique, of which gender is a small thing, but want to be celebrated no matter the gender, and should be considered much, if at all, when considering the summation of a person. These friends are going the wrong way, to put it bluntly, and it's just going to create turmoil, obviously, and pit gender against gender, which is so messed up. All genders are meant to live together in peace without putting each other down. Same as all races, in my opinion. It's sad that some women think feminism means putting men down. I don't know the story about the Dragon Queen, but yeah, kill the enslavers. Get rid of them. Don't enslave them. All right. You already know how to do what is necessary to run the city because you are the building blocks of the city. You don't need to flip and become exactly what you hate the most. Do not become what you hate the most. Simply rid the world of evil, move forward, become good, tell those stories to all those who come after you so they do not become what you removed from the world. And watch them and make sure they don't end up that way. And if you got to, right on the head, factory reset, the soft spot. Because, if they're thinking if they're thinking a little slow like that, then obviously the soft spot is still there, Ooh, were there any more comments I wanted to read? I don't know if OP commented on anything else because I am a sleepy boy. There are a bunch of comments here, and you can go read these for yourself, and you can make your own opinions. This post is 2 years ago, so potentially these people already got married. Oh yeah, OP did leave some more comments, but they are not relevant. They are not relevant. Besides saying there's no trauma on Lisa's part. I don't know about Sophie. Yeah, but there's no trauma on either. But I recognize that even if she does, we're not close enough that I would know. And why do you think this is not right for this sub? They're replying, I don't care. Moving on, because I'm a sleepy guy. We're over in r/relationship advice with a post that is 6 years old by Wildwood1Q84. These usernames, bruh. I know it sounds sexist, but I'm scared of men and their intentions. Please read edits as well. I'm going to do what I want. Yes, you've read that right. And no, I don't mean to sound sexist or misandrous. It's just that I would want to be able to have normal relationships with men, but I'm having an extremely hard time trusting men who want to enter in a relationship with me. If anyone is forming speculations that maybe I just experienced a very bad relationship in the past, you are correct. I was in an abusive relationship with a narcissist about 2 years ago, and it was very traumatic for me that I ended up in therapy after that ordeal. But now that I'm single, I can't help but play scenarios of my next relationship in my head. I am not by any means in a rush to be in a relationship again. I actually am driven to the point of not wanting to get married anymore because I know that in every relationship, it is healthy to have sex, and be sexually open to your partner. But I get scared by the notion of having sex because in my mind, I keep thinking that maybe the reason why this man decided to woo me is to get in my pants. I know it sounds silly and paranoid because it's normal and healthy for couples to engage in sexual activities, but I just can't do it. And I will end up feeling bad and guilty for not being able to give my partner this one thing. I've already gone to therapy for this, but my sessions with the doctor is basically, you need to separate your past experiences with your past partner with a prospective partner that you'll have in the future. Still, I'm having a hard time swallowing my fear. You need a different therapist then. This fear ended up extending to my male friends. I hate that it has come to this point because I used to be very comfortable in the presence of my male friends. It's so bad that when I see men are in an elevator, I wouldn't go in and just wait until there are more women than men in the next ride. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Also, sorry if this sounds sexist. That's not my intention at all. You had a very, very, very traumatic experience. Calling him a narcissist and calling it an abusive relationship does not cut it if this is how you are feeling. Your therapist is not helping you. You need better therapy with a completely different therapist. I don't know. You do really need better help. I hope you have good therapy. This is 6 years old. Good Lord. It's been 6 years. Let's read the edits. I see that Reddit is definitely the wrong place to seek advice from. I'm sorry. As I've received messages that are just downright disgusting and will make your mothers recoil. Still, I'm going to keep this post up even if I want to delete it so bad. Just so there is anyone who's experiencing the same irrational fear may find solace in those comments that truly help. Edit number 2. There are 4 edits. For those who are asking me for the history of my previous relationship, I didn't really want to give the link, but it's already somewhere in the comments. Also, I forgot to mention that I was 10 years old. I witnessed my aunt getting severely beaten to a pulp by her ex husband only after 2 weeks of giving birth to their daughter via C section. He just kept punching her in her fresh incision until she was vomiting all over herself in pain and bled through that incision. All this happened while I was hiding in the closet, holding their baby, my cousin, tightly, hoping he would never open the closet door because I know I'd be next. Oh, edit 3. In what part of fear don't you all understand? I do not hate men. I'm fucking scared of men. Two different things. The more you all post troll comments, the more you're just reinforcing my fear. I'm already seeking help. What more do you want from me? I went here on Reddit to get constructive criticism and helpful advice, not to become men's punching bag with their unhelpful, mean, and downright disgusting comments. I don't need your private messages telling me that if I had been your boyfriend, I would have effed you already just to spite you further. Leave me alone if you don't have anything helpful to say. Thank you and have a nice day. Jesus Christ. Edit number 4. I would no longer reply to the comments here. I think I've made my point across. Take it however you all want it to. I'd like to thank each and every single one of you who offered their understanding, support, and constructive advice. Truly, I can't thank you enough. You all have an awesome day and week ahead of you. To those that spew insults and harassed me and still continue to harass me by spamming my private inbox and chat with unspeakable mentions of sexual assault, I hope you had lots of fun. That's the only fun you're ever going to get from me. And a report and a block. Good Lord. The top comment that OP replies to: what you are experiencing may be hypervigilance. After I was, because I can't say that word, assaulted, I developed a reflexive fear of men. It's taken me years to bring down to a manageable level. I still may not be ready to date if I look at it critically. It sounds like you're not ready to date yet, and that's absolutely okay. It does not make you a sexist or a misandrist. It's like having a fear of spiders after getting bit and put in the hospital. It's reasonable. It's just dialed up too high. This is a defensive mechanism active for a while after you needed it. Don't feel too guilty for being afraid of something that legitimately damaged you and could happen again. You'll come through the other end, eventually calibrated to see red flags without being super anxious all the time. OP replies to that: first of all, I am so sorry about what happened. This makes my situation look like child's play in comparison to yours. And I mean no offense. I hope you're not offended. Also, I have arachnophobia. So your example is spot on. And my fear of men does sort of feel like my fear of spiders. I suppose it's not necessarily the man that I'm afraid of, but what they're capable of doing to me. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate your courage to share with me. And that person replies to OP: thank you. Though I don't think it's fair to compare experiences. Trauma is trauma, and I don't think yours was child's play in any sense. I am absolutely not offended. I like the arachnophobia analogy more I think about it, since one of the solutions to being afraid because one spider bit you is to study up on spiders and to learn to spot the ones that are dangerous and differentiate them from the ones that are harmless. Now, I am not necessarily suggesting this to you, but judging character is similar. I think, and for a while, all you see is a spider that hurts you over and over, even when you're not ready, even when you're not looking at a spider at all. After a while, you'll stop seeing red flags everywhere. Until that point, you are justified in taking care, because the other thing that happens when you see red flags everywhere is that the ones that are real get lost in the noise. This happened with my second relationship. I am sure you will recover, but until that process is further along, you are absolutely entitled to take the measures you need in order to cope, and don't let anyone tell you different. You don't owe anything to anyone. And someone else replies to that, "This is heavy. I'm sorry. This is heavy. There's not a single person that I know personally who hasn't been assaulted in some form or manner, from a low to a high degree. And I don't mean physically, right? These apps don't want us, these social media platforms, YouTube included, don't want me to get into the specific words, the exact definitions, the real nitty gritty. They want me to kitty it down and not use the real words, but the words are important. They matter. But if I say all of them, especially in succession, that this won't be allowed to be posted. So we'll read one more comment and OP's reply to that, and then we'll move on to the next story. You don't have to go through a traumatic assault or abusive relationship to develop this sort of hypervigilant fear of men. It can also be a reflex from experiencing the general oppression of being a woman. Repeatedly dealing with catcalling, male friends who just want in your pants, relationships where it's very male focused when it comes to sex, harassment online, reading all those articles and news reports about assault, women being murdered, etc. All really cement this idea in your head that men only want one thing, and men are capable of harming you, and you need to constantly be aware of it to protect yourself. I've had a couple of bad abusive relationships and sexual trauma that left me with the same fear. I became nervous around even my closet. Long-term male friends. Closest long-term male friends. I can't read now. It's late. It takes some time to address the root of that fear and learn to manage the hypervigilance reflex. For me, it feels like my brain is a computer and there's all these tabs open about potential red flags, and it's constantly running in the background, and I can't figure out how to close the tabs. I've been working on just observing it without letting whatever it is I think might happen affect my actions/emotions in the present, if that makes sense. OP replies, "I cannot thank you enough for this comment. If I had some gold, I would give it to all to you. Yes, 2019. Yeah, some people still fail to grasp this reality. Thank you very much for saying this." I may do a lighthearted episode next week, simply to reset and to allow you guys to reset, because this hurts me. Reading through this, it upsets me greatly. It makes me so sad. But this is people's reality. This is so many women's reality. Don't. It hurts. It hurts, man. We're over in r/relationship advice with a post that's a year old by Doofenshmirtz_. Doofenshmirtz, he will incorporated. Wow. I, 22 female, am scared that my best friend, 22 female, is turning into a misandrist. How do I handle it? Hello, Reddit. I, 22 female, have a close friend, 22 female. We met at school about 3 years ago, and we were friends instantly. We have matching tattoos, we went on trips together, and we're generally super close. When we met, she immediately told me she's quite punk. I never had and never will have an issue with this. She dresses cool, she's passionate about her views, and she cares a lot about people. My issue is her recent TikTok likes and reposts. It sounds stupid, but she's been sharing a lot of man hating stuff. Most of it is jokes like everything that starts with MAL is evil. Malpractice, malicious, male. Some of them, however, keeps blaming men for the system that hates and objectifies women. Sure, there is a system in place, but she's made it her whole online identity. In real life, she's totally pleasant, though. We have many male friends, probably about the same as female, and she's never been mean or nasty to any of them. I have noticed maybe a slight increase in her saying, they just don't get it, but not more than that. I know recently she had some trauma related to men in her life resurface. I feel like it could have been a coping mechanism for her to feel like she's not alone in having shitty men in her life. Maybe she just needs to get it out of her system. I don't know if I'm blowing this whole thing out of proportion or she's just being brainwashed by watching all this man hating content. How do I talk to her about it? Is it okay for me to just let it go or will it get worse? Help is appreciated. Do not let it go. Even though this post is a year old, I hope she's in a better place. But it's been a year and now we have the list. We have the list. If she got better, this would send her back down the rabbit hole. Being 22 years old, 23 years old now, she would know her entire childhood, everything that she grew up with, and was shaped by a handful of billionaires and their particular tastes. She may have found some of that content enjoyable. She may have shared it. She may have resonated it. Some of it may have been educational. Therefore, she reposted it. To a degree, I'm like that with political content and African American content, especially when it's about the history of America, right? During the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th century. You know what took place during then, right? So it helps that people can learn about the realities that's going on and have going on in the world because the textbooks definitely won't and have not, will not teach it. Adults need to learn. But the algorithm will continue to reinforce and will continue to show her stuff over and over and over and over again. I can be honest. There was most definitely a point where I was seeing just a lot of ass shaking videos on TikTok. My single ass a couple of years ago was just swipe, swipe. It's just so much, it's just gyrating and rotating, and I was like, there's not much else here. Some memes here and there, some political content. I'm like, this is getting old. But also there was a bit of what if? What if I open the app and people are seeing this and they're judging me, and it's just like, why are you just looking at so much sexual content of women shaking ass, shaking ass, shaking ass? And I was like, I'm not seeking this out. I'm definitely enjoying it, but I'm engaging that 1 second, 3 second, 5 second view that open to the comments to see people saying degenerate things. It had me continuously reinforcing the algorithm. I'm not sharing. I'm not reposting. I'm not liking unless it's an actual dancer, right? Shaking it, but that would be part of a routine. But I'm still engaging. TikTok's going to continue to show that to me, and it just became so much. So it would have been a shame and my own self reinforcement from overthinking that potentially others may judge me. Swipe, 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 with super minimal engagement. Clicking, not interested, right? Going past everything, reinforcing other parts of my algorithm, engaging with other content, commenting on other content, had that go away. It took a minute. It took like a month, but it had to go away. And I am a man. I let myself fall into that and overindulge, and it just became everything for that app. I still went through Instagram, but Instagram wasn't like that. Right. I've been a photographer for 13 years. So anybody in scantily clad clothing is part of a professional photo shoot. Right. Or Facebook. Facebook's Facebook. I'm not seeing anybody throw cake on there. And Twitter is a degenerate platform. If I'm on Twitter, it's for that. No, let me stop. And I don't care if you call it X. That's not what it is. Right? If you call it X, there's something wrong with you. Get on Blue Sky. Go over on there. Download that app. Make your own app. We need more apps. We need true diversity. Because all this is just ugh. Wait, did I give any advice to this person? This post is zeroed. What was that? Yeah, take their phone. Click not interested. Click not interested. Just swipe. I've done that. I've definitely done that to people who are seeing misogynistic content. And I'm like, why are you sending me this shit? Why are you sending me this bullshit? Right. And take their phone. Oh, yeah, I just want to do something real quick. Turn the volume down. And you can see it. You can scroll through it, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the app is. Click, not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested. If these are people in your household, I think you can, and I'm not sure how effective it is, if you got access to the main account for the internet, you can ban certain things. You can ban certain websites. So they definitely don't get access to some of this stuff. But yeah, if you flood them with some posts that are antithetical to it as well, them engaging with that content and you having them go over it, especially if they don't engage, and that you're like, hey, I sent you this. What you think? And then they watch it, right? Would definitely start changing their algorithm and their feed. And that's just necessary. Too much of any one thing is dangerous. So let's read the comments. Oof. OP got downvoted to oblivion. From the top comment by a deleted user, you say she acts normal IRL in real life, and these are just come recent things she's done online. Some. Okay. My brain just got fried. They said come. They mean some. You say she acts normal IRL, and these are just some recent things she's done online. So it sounds like you're just annoyed at a couple things she's reposted on TikTok. I feel like at this point you might be overreacting. I don't think this is this is just that weird. Just like if you... My brain is fried, I'm sorry. Just like if a guy going through a breakup posted one of those all women do is lie and eat hot chip memes, isn't that weird? And OP replies, that's a really good point. I hope that this is the case. Thanks. Nope. Because my boy went through one of those phases. And these platforms, these companies have built up profiles of you as an individual, your age, your name, where you live, how much money you make, and the things that you like, that you engage with. Facebook started it first. Then everybody got on Instagram and they bought Instagram. Twitter came about, Tumblr came about, YouTube's always been there in the background. I am reading from Reddit itself. Since there is no regulation on your information being collected and sold by these companies have advertisement built into it, and they build your algorithm so they can show you ads to get you to buy things, so they get paid. The more you scroll, the more you engage, the more they get richer. So if you have a concern and you see too much of the same thing on your own feed or on other feeds, make that change. Help them make that change. My boy went through a breakup and he fell down the red pill rabbit hole. I grabbed him by his fucking neck and brought him out. And really all I did was bring him to the ladder and he climbed up himself. Right. Having a thorough grasp and understanding of the bad things that you've done in your own relationship and the things that got done to you can help you live in reality. Not these losers online who don't get women, don't have real families, are grifting for $1. What was I saying? I was ranting. I forgot where I was even going. Yeah, don't watch these people. Don't watch these red pill losers. Don't watch any of these people. All they do is hate, and get paid for it. And then they move on to something slightly different and spew hate about that while still keeping true to what they started with. It's all for $1. It's all for $1. Right? There is such little regulation and requirements of these companies, these social media platforms, to do well by the citizens that engage on them. Everything is boosted that is negative to the very top. If it is negative, you will get engagement. Whether it is joking about people in a messed up manner, whether it is talking badly about men and women, it will get boosted. And then you will engage and you will spend your time with it, whether you're fighting against it or not. And then that will be on your algorithm. That will be what you keep seeing. And then your mental space will be messed up. And it's just sad. So go vote. All I read was one comment. That's crazy. All I read was one comment here. Let me see. There was something I liked here. Yes, here it is. A comment by Belmont Incident. If this is the result of trauma resurfacing, and she's said that, my first impulse would be to offer help with the trauma. And they drop links. Here's general purpose self-guided therapy, which is cogbtherapy.com/free online CBT workbook. And there's dashes in between free online CBT workbook. CBT. Cock and ball torture. And then they drop another link, betweensessions.com, WP-content. You're blowing me here. Am I going to open that? Will I? I'm going to put these links in the comment section on YouTube, if I remember. But yeah, betweensessions.com/WP-content-uploads-2022-11-trauma-dash. I'm seeing dash instead of slash. Oh no. Betweensessions.com/WP-content/uploads/2022//recover-workbook-1.pdf. I did it. But that link is for something trauma specific. I'm broken now. I'm dying. I don't have any great ideas about the conversation because on one hand, sexist idiocy is real, and on the other hand, spreading blame evenly on men as a class isn't a particularly useful response. And OP responds, I mean, we talk, of course. She is looking for a therapist, so that's good. I just don't know if this is a healthy way of coping for her. Thanks for links. I'll look into them. And Opie got downvoted into oblivion over and over again. But you can go and read these stories for yourself. And I'll open the links Oh wow. That PDF is 64 pages long. That does look like it would be helpful. And there are multiple sections for a course in CBT techniques. Shout out to free information being given to the people. I love it. Moving on, we're over in r/relationship advice with a post that's 4 years old by a deleted user. My sister is a misandrist. My sister, 21 female, has always been a massive misandrist and often talked about how men should be killed, how they were all evil, and that there was nothing she hated more in life than men. But it never came to me that she might think the same about me. But today I was scrolling through Reddit with my headphones on, which might have gave her the impression I wouldn't be able to hear her. She started talking to my mom about how you're more likely to get assaulted by someone you know than a stranger. But then she said that because I was a man, and solely because I was a man, that there was a good chance I would do something to her. I honestly couldn't believe my ears. My sister, who I had known for 14 years, who I got along with really well, casually mentioned how I could assault her and insisted I probably would after my mom defended me, and literally minutes after started talking to me like nothing happened. My brain is broken. Um, save this little boy. Save him. He's 14 years old. Oh, he's 18 now because this post is 4 years ago and it is deleted. Oh my God. Oh, good Lord. Oh no, poor baby. Top comment: your sister needs therapy ASAP. Ooh. From a deleted user, I would highly consider avoiding your sister until she gets rushed in for psychiatric help and having a private conversation with your mom about this. What she's doing isn't right, especially when talking about her 14-year-old brother. You might also benefit from some counseling. I imagine it hurts horribly to hear her accuse you of such a heinous crime when you're completely innocent. This problem needs a professional's assistance. Therapy, 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 therapy. I'm the one saying therapy, not the comment, but they need help bad. Ooh, OP's sister needs help. And OP replies, I'm not going to talk to her anymore, but my mom doesn't see it as a problem. I'm sorry. If you go and you click and you find this post and you read it, OP is 14. A lot of misspelling, no commas, no periods. I almost broke my neck trying to read that. But my mom doesn't see it as a problem, is what they typed out. But that's not the most important thing at all. Fuck grammar at this point. Fuck it. Right. Chippy Tick comments, ignore her. That's effing terrible. I'm cussing anyway. To be accused of such things when you're just her little brother, not even out of high school yet. They just got in high school. They're like a freshman or sophomore. You're allowed to express hurt and disappointment when reacting to her. You've done absolutely nothing wrong by just existing and being you. You mentioned she's constantly on social media. That's horrible. Social media operates on algorithms to suggest similar content based on what you're browsing or interacting with. She's actively poisoning her own mind by doing so, consuming hate articles after hate posts, spewing the same rhetoric, and I'm appalled your mom doesn't give a shit. What are your dad's thoughts on this? OP replied he doesn't know, but he's barely in any of our lives. The stereotypes, no. Oh my God. Oh, no positive male role model growing up. It absolutely jaded her in the worst way possible. I am so sorry. If you need to talk to a school counselor, please do in case they can suggest something when dealing with her. Your sister's operating on the toxic mindset of you haven't done anything yet, but you will. Even though we all know you won't. Is she the only one who thinks that way, or are her friends also misandrous as well? If she has any, do you want to confront her on what she said? Do you want to continue having a good relationship with her? These are the questions to ask. If you must cry, so be it. It's okay to. I honestly would be bawling if my older siblings said that about me. I couldn't possibly fathom saying something like that to my younger sibling as the oldest myself. And I'm the baby in my sibling dynamic. But I'm not 14. I'm 31. My sister wouldn't say anything like that to me. But I'd punch her in the gut. But don't be like me. I'm an aggressive asshole. Don't be like me. All right. Taking my advice when I'm making sense, not when I'm advocating for violence against individuals, unless they hurt you physically or greatly mentally. Punch a Nazi in the face. Yes, do that. Always do that. OP replies to this comment. I'm so sorry. I'm going to talk to the school counselor about it, but I'm going to give up trying to keep a good relationship with her. I don't think there's any possibility of her getting better, as she thinks there's nothing wrong. We've had conversations before, and after this, I'm done trying. There's no point even confronting her. I can only imagine it ending badly. Oh, my Lord. There was a comment that OP had. Yes. We're going to read their comment after this by Hobbit and Hufflepuff. Oh, Hobbit and Hufflepuff. Oh, when there's no dashes and these usernames run together, it's just letter after letter. It messes me up. Especially, I don't know, it's my fault. They got capital letters. It's just the I. The I throws me. Because there's no lines at the top. It's just it looks like an L to me in this text. And yes, I'm really sorry that this has happened in your family. It sounds like she has found an actual social issue, but going off the deep end with the intensity. This is pretty common for 14-year-olds, but that's not to say it should be tolerated. I mean, she'll probably chill out if left to her own devices, but it could take years, and that's not fair to you, to any other male she meets as well, or frankly, to the entire feminist movement of which she has become an insulting caricature. Ideally, your parents would sit her down and explain to her that her behavior is not okay, that if she wants to actually fight sexism, there are a bunch of causes she can volunteer for, etc. But that just being insulting and a jerk to about every male she meets helps no one and hurts a lot of people. It sounds like your parents are just waiting for her to run out of steam on her own, but that isn't fair to either of you. So, step one, talk to your mom. Tell her you've heard your sister. Tell her that you heard your sister. I am so sorry. I'm sleepy. Tell her you heard what your sister was saying about you and how you are and how hurt you are. Oh my Lord, I'm messing up so bad here. And how your parents' collective lack of response make you feel like they don't care about your feelings. Step two, if step one doesn't go in a satisfactory way for you, talk to your sister. Remind her that you are not a man, you're you, a person, a real life person with real life feelings. And you are hurt that she, not a woman, but your actual real life sister, would accuse you of something like that based on just your gender. She may get defensive, but she might hear you anyway. Either way, I avoid your sister until she earns back your trust. By the way, I'm female and self-identify as a feminist. On behalf of both groups, I'm sorry she misheard the message this badly and decided to be this much of a jerk about it. And OP replies, so we have the most amount of messed up context ever. I'm 14 and she's 21. Lone Throwaway 214 replies to that. Damn, she's an and grown adult and you're practically still a child, I might be messing up, not reading words and messing words up here, but I would never use "and" for a word that starts with a G. Grown. Hey, you didn't deserve what she said about you. Just wanted to tell you that, even though I'm sure you already know. 14 verses 21. 14 verses 21. OP is still avoiding her, but his account has been deleted. He's 18 now, possibly out of the house. She's 25 now, possibly being reinforced in her own thoughts process due to the list. Oh, man. There are so many issues that have taken place that have just been exacerbated. That's the word I was looking for. By these rich, disgusting, terrible people. And no one's being held accountable. No changes are being made. Systems that have been built on top of their thoughts and ideals and their money still exist, still are being used, and no one is truly thinking about it. No one is truly trying to break those down. No one is truly trying to go through how they've been used and manipulated and turned into useful idiots. It makes me so sad. This episode makes me so sad. I'm sorry if you're still watching this and you're just fucked now. I'm so sorry. I promise next episode will be fun. We're going to laugh at people doing dumb things. We're over in the r/am I the asshole subreddit with a post that's 3 years old by Am I the Asshole? Do not use slurs. Am I the asshole for triggering my friend because I didn't want him to use slurs? Sorry for the spelling. I had to fit it all in. I, female 21, have a friend Z, male 22, who believes the freedom of speech and is of the mind he can say whatever, whenever. There are times we've gotten into explosive fights about his use of some words, specifically the F slur and the R word. We are on the phone and he's watching American football and makes a comment that one of the players was R word because of how they were playing. I said, please don't use that word, and he got very quiet, then said goodnight and cut the call. He then sent text saying I shouldn't police his words, that he's told me repeatedly not to police his words, and I said back that I have also repeatedly said that I don't like the use of slurs around me, and I shouldn't have to hear them, especially from someone I care about. To note, the bulk of our arguments have been around the F slur. This was new. He said, quote, I'm not one of those guys that you speak about, that you speak to anyhow just because you're a woman. You do not and cannot police my speech. And I should keep the social justice warrior and woke shit away from him. All I wanted was for him not to use those words around me. He says the world is always trying to limit and demonize men's speech, and I'm pandering to that, not seeing the misandrous undertones in my actions. We argued back and forth, and after I made tweets about the situation, my tweets word for word are, imagine fighting with all your might against people who don't want you to use slurs around them. Like, imagine fighting so hard for the right to call people the R word and F slur. You must be sick in the head, for real, than to now spin it as the world is always trying to police men's speech and you feeding into it makes you a misandrous. I'm like, what? If using common sense to not use slurs makes me a misandrous, then please tattoo the word on my forehead. He was mad. How could I publicly out him in our argument? And on top of that, I was lying. Brief backstory. He once told me about some girls lying on him on Twitter in the past, and it was a trigger for him. The fact that you felt comfortable enough to do that, knowing that it triggers me, and knowing that I fucking told you about the app, that is the point. honestly, I feel awful about this, especially because I wasn't even thinking about those other instances at all when I was making my tweet. I was just letting off steam, and it wasn't my intention to trigger him, but I also didn't lie. He said he never called anyone a F slur, and I said, though in that instance he hadn't, I added that as well because that has been the topic of argument we've always had. So it only makes sense to mention as well. After all, it's not like his stance has changed. It's relevant and adds to my point, so to deny that is disingenuous. He also said that he never called me a misandrist. Him saying I'm pandering to ideals with misandrist undertones, or you clearly going back to your misandrist social justice warrior bullshit, equals him calling me a misandrist in my eyes. Is that correct? I don't know. Anyway, am I the asshole? I just needed to rant. He says I'm trying to control him and he won't bend to my will just because I said so. I just don't get how one could be fighting so hard to use slurs. You ain't got that dog in you. Because if you had that dog in you, you would have kicked him in the dick. Honestly. Are you the asshole? Yes. Because this is your friend. This is the company you keep. You're doing the work necessary to try to get him to change, but this little boy was obviously raised wrong by his parents. If you could go back in time and get rid of him. Get rid of him. Nah, let me stop. Let me stop. I sound like Rhodey. I sound like Rhodey from Endgame. Get rid of baby Thanos. I can't say that this boy is lost because he's 22, but no, he is lost. I just can't say he's lost forever because who knows what can help him be pulled out of his thought process and his mindset, but it definitely isn't what you've been going about. And you've been giving up so much of your time and your mental health to pull him out of this. You can definitely keep on keeping on. I would say change your method since this isn't working. He definitely has been exposed to the wrong things and he has been raised poorly. You need to educate him if you're going to truly keep putting forth this effort. But he does not deserve your time. He deserves to rot. I'm sure you are his only female friend. He's 22. He has not experienced enough years of not getting pussy. He honestly hasn't. And I'm sure there's some Republican loser, no value in themselves having women out there who would definitely roll over and bark for this man. Boy, creature of the lagoon. But he honestly needs education and isolation. He needs punishment for his actions, right? Some LGBTQIA plus individual needs to break his jaw. And I feel strongly about that. But I feel complex thoughts because I'm going to say it right now, retarded all the time. Because there are some poorly educated people out there in the world. 52, 3, 4, 5, 6% of this country read at and below a 6th grade reading level. I work with some of these people. at my day job, and talking to some of these people is like, how were you legally allowed to reproduce? Let alone, how did you find somebody to reproduce with you? But hey, right, when half the country, more than half the country, is at a 12-year-old's level in regards to reading literacy. Everything else follows suit, right? Then imagine going to a 6th, 7th, 8th grade, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade level. 12th grade level. You end up with such a small percentage of the population. I truly believe that only those who are intelligent and strive to better themselves and learn more can be good people. Because when you get down, to the real nitty gritty, and you ask them the hard, harsh questions, they'll be like, I care so much about myself, my parents, my siblings, my significant others, my children, but not my neighbor or my town or my country or any other people in any other country, right? They only have so much empathy and sympathy because of how poorly they were raised. It extends this far, and it's the perfect time for a fit check. All of you bow before Lord Draken. Yes, it is your duty in life to serve him. Not do anything else. Don't read Reddit. Don't listen to this podcast. Serve Lord Draken. And if you don't know who Lord Draken is, well, he's going to come knocking on your door. Let me stop. Oh, man. Let's read some comments. And this post is 3 years old. You're 21 and he's 25 now. Hopefully he's been suffering. Top comment by a deleted user, not the asshole. The decision to use or not use slurs is not about freedom of speech. It's about empathy and compassion for marginalized people and groups. Also, he sounds aggressive. So you can't keep being friends with this person. And someone asked, why are you friends with this person? Astra Bear, they ask. And OP replies, regardless of this, he has helped me so much in my life and has been a shoulder to cry on and has been my biggest supporter at one point. We fell out and recently reconciled. Me foolishly thinking he has changed. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was very stupid to do that. Some people do not change, especially people with views like this. No amount of arguing reason with them will ever make them change. They do not change. They just learn to adapt and perform. Shit, OP, you already know. You already know. There's like 59 comments on here, and you were quite a few of them, I think. I don't know. I didn't do my due diligence. Hey, you're hip already. You're hip. Oh, wait, hold on. Sauron of Mordor replies, I have not seen The Hobbit or whatever the series is. I haven't seen it. Don't get mad at me for my pronunciation. He sounds like the kind of guy who intentionally seeks out women who are in a vulnerable state so he can use your shoulder to cry on. Look at how much I've done for you. Guilt to control the relationship. Seriously, this dude isn't your friend and doesn't respect or give a shit about you. Drop him. Ooh, OP replies, I don't have time for all that bullshit. He got the wrong one for real. I'm happy to burn this bridge. Yo, good for you. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And here's the realities. From a deleted user, they comment, not the asshole. Freedom of speech is a protection from censure by the government, not from the consequences of other people. You need to be a consequence. I don't like the words you use, and since I've explained my feelings to you, and you don't care, I cannot continue being friends with you. I don't know why you want to be friends with this person anyway. This is the truth. This is the reality, right? The First Amendment, I should have had this pulled up, right? I should have had this pulled up, but I pulled up other things. I pulled up other definitions, and we'll go over those. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the rights of or of the rights people or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Oh my Lord. I'm sorry. I should be in a bed asleep. My apologies. It's not even that late, but it is late for me. We're gonna go over and do some reading real quick. Yep, let's go ahead. Why the R word is the R slur. Practice inclusion in the use of the R word. This is a post on SpecialOlympics.org. This is one of their stories. The R word, also known as the R slur, is a hurtful term that remains prevalent throughout social media, according to a Kantar social listening study. The research shows that when social media users are posting about people with intellectual disabilities, 7 in every 10 of those posts are negative, and 6 in 10 contain a slur. The R word is a form of hate speech that stands for retard or retarded or other offensive words ending in tard, while mental retardation was originally introduced as a medical term in 1961 for people with intellectual disabilities. In the decades since, the R word has become an insult used all too commonly in everyday language. Those who use the R word often do so with little regard for the pain it causes people with intellectual disabilities and the exclusion it perpetuates in our society. In 2010, President Obama, shout out Beezy, signed Rosa's Law, which changed mental retardation to intellectual disability in the U.S. federal law. Inspired by 9-year-old Rosa Marcelino. I am so sorry. The law was a key milestone to promoting inclusive people first language. I just need to do better saying other people's names. My apologies. As the word engages in an intense conversation about the importance of inclusion, as the world engages in an intense conversation about the importance of inclusion, Special Olympics and Best Buddies urge everyone to play an active role in promoting acceptance by ending the use of the R word, which continues to push people with intellectual disabilities to the sidelines. The R word is a form of bullying. Right? Kantar reviewed nearly 50 million social media posts in the U.S. over 2 years. Over 2/3 of posts about people with intellectual disabilities were negative, and nearly 29 million contained slurs using the word retarded or retard or other words combined with tard. Spreading the R word continues to hurt people with intellectual disabilities, and whether intended or not, is a form of bullying. Using the R word is the same as using any slur against a minority group. Eliminating this word is a step towards respect for all. Taking action to end the R word. We invite you to participate in Spread the Word Inclusion campaign by taking concrete action to end the exclusion caused by the use of the R word. The Spread the Word Inclusion campaign, created in 2009, engages schools, organizations, and communities by urging young people around the world to take a stand and help change the conversation. The campaign highlights the harmful effects the R word has on millions of people with intellectual disabilities, as well as their families and communities. Oh, man. We have a quote by the co-founder of this campaign. As all conversation increasingly migrates online, social media channels should be a safe space for people with intellectual disabilities, their families, and friends, free of social abuse and stigma. But the alarming usage of slurs and negative posts shows us our efforts have really just begun. This campaign was combined with a simple call to action to spread the word to end the word. As of September 2020, more than 820,000 people around the world have taken the pledge online to end the use of the R word, and millions more have signed banners and petitions. You can help people with intellectual disabilities feel included, accepted, and embraced for who they are. You can help others see the person instead of the disability. You can create a more compassionate, accepting world. Make your pledge for inclusion today. I've used the word so much all the time, mostly at abhorrent people with the worst idiotic views. And I felt like it was the perfect insult to make them feel less than, to really drive home my point. But hurting other people is not it by using that word, right? Especially as we have a history of 60 years of people being oppressed, not properly being helped. Right, the DSM-3, DSM-4, what did things only change with the DSM-5? It's quite tough. Let me see something real quick. We only have so much time. We only have 19 minutes. We're going to go over a couple definitions as well, right? Woke, an adjective. Aware of and actively attentive to important societal facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social justice. It's often used in contexts that suggest someone's expressed beliefs about such matters are not backed with genuine concern or action. This is coming from Merriam-Webster, right? We're reflecting the attitude of woke people. And I go over this simply for the fact of the matter that people out here in the world that I would have called the R word, losers, poorly educated people, less than, have continuously chosen to steal and take and colonize words that we have created, those in my community, and to help others. And they have twisted it for their own sick gain. And they have brainwashed other people who look like them to use these words, who think like them to use these words. And it hurts. So we come over to the naacp.org website, where we have a post reclaiming the word woke as part of African American culture. Black history is a critical aspect of American history and has shaped American culture, including the evolution of language. The words wake up and woke have served as a call to action as conveyed by social activist Marcus Garvey, who stated, "Wake up, Ethiopia. Wake up, Africa." And the Negro mine workers who in 1940 issued the statement, "We are asleep, but we will stay woke from now on," in advocating against discriminatory pay. The term woke was first highlighted in the 1962 essay, "If You're Woke, You Dig It," featured in the New York Times by Harlem-based writer William Melvin Kelly, who documented the cultural appropriation and distortion of languages, resulting in certain idioms being abandoned by their original Black creators. The term woke has similarly been misused, as traditionally and white-focused media have reframed woke as trendy new slang, eroding its cultural connection and separating the term from its historical grounding in social justice. 6 decades later, anti-Black racists have engaged in a similar exercise of cultural appropriation to weaponize and misdefine the term woke, as evidenced by the Stop WOKE Act, specifically targeting the teaching of American history and Black educators. Black educators are more likely to teach subjects that incorporate an inclusive view of history, and legislation like the Stop WOKE Act threatens the free speech and livelihood of teachers and the quality of education received by all students, mostly students in Florida. The NAACP affirms the term woke and its historical connection to Black history, Black liberation movements, and social justice. The NAACP, through its units, encourage a historically accurate and correct use of the term woke when its misuse is identified. The NAACP condemns cultural appropriation, misuse of black idioms, and specific efforts by anti-black racists to distort and redefine the specific term woke. I was unaware of what took place in Florida because I am from Michigan, the murder midst, the best state to live in, the sometimes the worst. We're top 10, baby. And we're only top 10 because I live here. We're Mr. Always on 10. I'm Mr. Always on 10, the greatest to ever live. And I come to Wikipedia so I can read a little bit. The Stop Woke Act, also known as the Stop Wrongs to Our Kids and Employees Act, a backronym of woke, a redubbed of the Individual Freedom Act, is a 2022 Florida state law that restricts schools and businesses from promoting certain concepts related to race, gender, racism, and social privilege while allowing discussion of them. It does not prohibit Florida educational institutions and businesses from discussing whether gender, race, and systemic racism intersect with various social systems, including legal, healthcare, education, and so forth. Still, it does prohibit compelled belief or instructional endorsement of specific concepts related to systemic racism or intersectionality. Violations could expose institutions to complaints and potential funding consequences, but the law does not mandate termination or automatic loss of funding. This is such an open-ended cry out to the racist people in Florida to come after all those who look like me, talk like me, and remove them from positions, or just simply yell online so loudly that superintendents and principals are forced to capitulate to just to this mess. These hateful people. Ron DeSantis, right? He put this into place. And it passed. It's been effective since July 1st, 2022. Florida is terrible. Florida is terrible. DeSantis framed the bill as opposing what he described as woke indoctrination. Though the statute does not mention critical race theories, critics of the law described it as whitewashing and an attack on the First Amendment. The law prohibits instruction that could compel students to feel guilt or responsibility for past injustices due to sex, guilt, or shame, or race, from students who base on their race and gender. Man, I'm done reading this. How much time do we got left in the recording? I got like 12 minutes. There's so much I wanted to read on this. Go to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund's website and read the article "How Woke Went from Black to Bad" by Ishina Robinson, and it'll be a good read for you. And we're gonna bang out the last story of the day. Moving on. We're over in r/Am I the Asshole with a post that's 6 months old by a deleted user. Am I the asshole for not wanting the puppy my boyfriend bought for my birthday presents? For context, I, 27 female, have always had pets, dogs, cats, even birds that fell from their nests. I also rescued and rehomed tons of animals, but I've never kept a male pet. My mom didn't like them because of their whole peeing everywhere thing. And I guess I just got used to only having girl pets. Plus, I love using my dogs like pillows. And I'll admit, the doggy boy parts that are always a little too present makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, I've had dogs, I've had my dog, let's call her Luna, since I was 17. She's my baby, and she 100% rules my life. She's not really friendly with kids or other dogs or most men, but she at least kind of likes my boyfriend, 31 male, up 2 years. So my birthday was a couple weeks ago. My boyfriend told me he had a surprise, but it wasn't ready yet. Last Friday, I came home from work and found him in my apartment with a 2-month-old German Shepherd male puppy that he bought, complete with a balloon tied to his collar that said, "Happy birthday." He smiled and said, "Do you like him? He's our new son." I was shook. The only words that came out were, "Where's Luna?" He had locked my dog in the bathroom because he growled at the puppy. I was furious. We argued for about 2 hours. I told him to take the puppy back with him and not to come back. He yelled some more and called me a misandrist. Before leaving, because apparently not wanting male pets equals hating men, he also said I was weird for being uncomfortable around dog pee-pees. The language here is hilarious. When I told my friends and family, everyone sided with me. However, my boyfriend keeps sending me videos of the puppy saying he doesn't know what to do with it since his apartment doesn't allow pets, especially one that will grow so much, and begging me to take it just until he finds accommodations. He says I owe him because he spent so much money on the puppy and was planning the puppy to live with me anyways. But I don't want the puppy. My current dog definitely wouldn't accept him. And in the videos, I can already see how destructive he's becoming. On the other hand, the poor puppy is innocent in this. And should I just suck it up and keep him with me until my boyfriend, we technically didn't break up yet, finds somewhere else to take him? Also, the puppy represents everything I don't want in a pet. I feel like I just bought myself a dog, but don't really want to take care of it. Oh, no. She says, I feel like he just bought himself a dog and doesn't want to take care of it. So he acted like the puppy was my birthday present. So am I the asshole for refusing to accept the puppy? Should I just take him in for a while? And we got to edit to clarify some things. Some people seem to think I'm obsessed with dog genitalia. And LOL, I'm not the one with issues. Not I'm I'm not the issues with puppies. Ranking R. Girl, the way you type. 1, I don't want another dog because I have a dog. 2, I don't want to raise a puppy ever again. 3, I don't want to own a dog that was bought. 4, I don't like large breeds. And 5, I don't want a male dog because I prefer female dogs. The only reason that I include I don't like dog penis is because I don't want to have that in my house. I don't lose sleep over it, but I prefer smooth belly female dogs. And what I told my boyfriend was something along the lines of, you disregard everything I believe in a pet to the extent that you even bought a male dog when I told you it wasn't my intention to even own one. Then he called me weird and misandrous, and that's the only reason I included that part in my post. But in my attempt to keep everything short, I didn't include all of that, right? That's a long list you got, but hey, I'm fine with it. And for the people telling me to grow up and say penis, there it is. I wasn't sure if I was able to say that. My only knowledge of Reddit were TikTok videos with a bad gameplay of Subway Surfers in the bag. So there's that. If you want me to clarify something else, please let me know. And one, but not the only reason I don't particularly like male dogs is because my uncle had one male Rottweiler, very aggressive. And one time in my grandma's house, he jumped on me. I was like 5 or 6 and tried to hump my face with his red rocket all out. And yes, it freaked me out. My grandma had to get rid of the dog after that. She had a large property in another city where they took him because nobody wants their kids near the dog after that. So there's the backstory. Let's read these comments. And we're going to bang this out quick. We're going to make this quick. Mostly because I'm almost out of space on my memory card. Top comment, not the asshole. Pets are not gifts. And for him to be so irresponsible and think he can just buy a living being for someone else is insane. He's clearly impulsive and selfish. At his old age, girl, run. I mean, honestly, one does not make a decade plus commitment to another living being for someone else. It's a new family member, and the decision to adopt a new family member is not made for someone else. Not the asshole, but he is for attacking you for not being happy about it. I mean, she isn't the asshole, but she needs to dip, change her locks, and make sure he can't get in her house. You can't be a misandrist for not liking male dogs. And I just thought about it. I wouldn't want to lay my face on doggy dick. I would not. I would not. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that even sounds like that. Where are OP's comments? She had a paragraph somewhere. Found it. So I'm not even going to try to read you. Nope, I'm not going to try to read that. Somebody comments, definitely not the asshole, as most people have said. One, a pet is never a good surprise gift. And two, he obviously bought it for himself and wanted you to take care of it for him. But to add, when you say your dog isn't friendly with kids or other dogs or most men, does that mean nervous or aggressive? And how is she around women? I'm not going to lie and talk like I know anything, but I've never owned a dog. I just have a cat. But if you've had her for a decade and she's still aggressive around kids and people, maybe you might want to look into that. Again, I don't know dogs at all, but that doesn't sound right to me. Anyone who knows dogs well, please feel free to correct me. And OP drops paragraph after paragraph. She's not aggressive, but very anxious around kids, especially really loud ones. I think it's because kids don't really understand boundaries. They see a cute dog and want to pet it right that instant. They don't ask and just sit in front of her and pet her aggressively, lol, or touch her ears, and that's a big no-no for her. She only ever growled at one kid, and it was because he came out of nowhere and grabbed her tail. But yeah, she's basically scared of them, I guess. She still has chosen kid friends. Girl, your spelling makes me want to end it all. Nope. With men, it's different because she really is protective of me. And in some instances, some men got mad and yelled because they tried to get close to me, and then she didn't let them. She's sensing something. She doesn't really like other dogs because she was attacked when when she was around one. If I introduce her gradually and not in my house, she might be friends with another dog. If the dog is not really high energy and too large, she will play with my sister's dog because she's also a little older and she likes cats, specifically kittens, or especially kittens. She doesn't like when you bring animals into her house, though, unless it's kittens. She's not aggressive, but would sit down in front of me and look at me like, is it leaving soon? Is it? And she's very neutral about women. They usually ask if they can pet her, and then I have a command that is friend. And if I say friend and point at someone, she knows it's safe to be friendly and let people pet her with no issue. If she gets bored after a while, she just walks away. I saw a lot of people saying I don't deserve dogs because I can't train her properly or whatever, but I did. She's potty trained. She can even walk without a leash. She understands basic commands like wait, let's go, come here, etc. I only take her off her leash in the park, though. I can't change the fact that she has had a bad experience with men or dogs, but I don't believe she just growled at the puppy right away. Knowing her, my boyfriend kept pushing the puppy in her face until she snapped, or the puppy was being too annoying and she just corrected him. I wasn't there, but I know my dog and Mr. Boyfriend's story have some inconsistencies. Sorry for the long ass response. It's cool. It's cool. Because I got 2 minutes left on this recording. Let me see. Did OP recall? OP left some more comments. But you're not the asshole unless you stay with him. I'm not really tripping. I wanted to end on a light story because I have a headache. I love you guys. I appreciate you for being here so much. Going through this entire episode, which has been a hell of a ride. So much learning, so much reading. Everything's going one ear and out the other. I'm going to have to go over some of this stuff again and again and again to really lock it in. And I hope some people have made changes in themselves because of this. I hope some people have taken in what I've said, what I've read, and they do better and they try to help other people do better. That's all we can do in this world. We have intelligent people and we have idiots, right? As intelligent people, let's do our best not to use any more slurs like the R word, right? But if somebody says the N word, punch them in the face. Punch him in the face, punch him in the face, punch him in the face. I hope you have a beautiful day, night, week, month, year. Thank you, you beautiful, intelligent people, and you crazy, idiotic people. I have been Mr. Always on 10. And I am sleepy. I can't even say my name right. This has been the Intelligent Idiots Podcast. Thank you. Oh.